Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric. Today I want to talk about the remake of Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly. The original game released back in 2003, I believe it was, and the new one released this year. I finally beat the game, and now I want to talk about it. So let's get one thing out of the way. I may mention spoilers, so just you've been warned. I've also put it into the caption of the titles, so again, you've been warned. I won't be going super deep into the story. Mostly be talking about the actual gameplay, but I may talk a little bit about the story at the end of the video. But to give a little context first, I have beaten the original game back in 2003 on the PS2. I have not beaten the one released on Xbox or the first remake, which was released on, I believe it was it Nintendo Wii maybe? I don't know what another console it was released on. I played this remake on the PC version using a controller. One last bit of context I want to give is that I did start playing this game day one, so there was eventually a patch that went out. I played on the hardest difficulty which was available, which was called Battle, and it was basically a lot of the enemies were very spongy, but the real issue for me actually wasn't that. It was that they would regenerate so much health when they would go into an enraged mode, which can happen. There's a chance for that to happen every time you deal damage to them, which means in the enraged mode, they take like half damage. I don't know if that's the exact measurements, but it seemed like half damage, and then they would regenerate a good chunk of that life when they would transform into that state to begin with. The problem is that while you can knock them out of that state, they can go back into that state. So battles would take a long time. However, I did feel that the patch may have weakened them a little too much, because even on the hardest difficulty, I was killing enemies really fast, and honestly didn't really feel threatened through most of the game. So bottom line is I think the patch made them a little too easy, but we're not here to talk about that. We're going to talk about the rest of the game now. I still had a lot of fun, and I'm not saying that the game was like insanely easy. I still had some challenges. Okay, let's talk about some gameplay things that I like. Let's talk about the third-person perspective. Obviously, this is not the first time they've done this. They did it Made in Blackwater, which is the last one I played. But I just want to say that I really like that they made this change to go third-person. I love it much more. But no hate towards the original fixed-based cameras, because that has a lot of nostalgia, and I love that style as well. But it is a nice change of pace to be able to play in third-person, and I assume that's where we're going to be going for the remainder of the series. But since we're on the talk of gameplay, let's go ahead and talk about the ghost hand, which I know is a bit of a controversial topic because a lot of people don't like this feature. I personally do like this feature. If I remember correctly, I think in Made in Blackwater, when you went to go pick up an item, if a ghost hand appeared, it would just be the hand, right? And maybe it dealt damage to you or something. I think that's how it works. It's been a while since I played that game. In this game, when a hand comes out, they will drain you of your willpower, and you'll be in a ghost fight, like an actual fight. I can't remember if you actually had to fight a ghost in the last game. I still like this feature, and I personally want to see it stick around, but I know that a lot of people don't like it. I think it adds to the fun of the game, and it does give you a way out. You just have to really be focused. The ghost hand also applies to the opening of doors, basically, where the ghost could be on the other side, and you gotta push that button really quick to close the door. Otherwise, they'll drain you of your willpower. Which let's lead into that as the next discussion. Willpower. I think it's exclusive to this game. In this game, if the ghost drains you of your willpower, if they hit you while your willpower is drained, they'll knock you to the ground, and they can get on top of you and deal more damage to you. I love this mechanic because I feel like it was about time for us to get a new combat-based mechanic for the series to kind of refresh things. It's also not like it's not like how a Souls game has stamina, which I also love, but it's not exactly like that. It's not as suffering as that, because even if you get all your willpower drained, you can still fight back and stuff like that. You can get away. They might not even ever drop you to the ground because you can dodge and stuff like that. You can get back some of your willpower by dealing damage to them. So I feel like it's a really fair mechanic. And speaking of them draining your willpower, they have this new attack called the I think everybody's just calling it the jump scare. It's like where their face just appears on the camera, and they'll instantly drain you of all your willpower. I do like this mechanic, but sometimes it does kind of feel like kind of cheap, where it's like, okay, they gotta drain all my willpower, like drop it completely to zero. The special shots cost a lot of willpower, which is another mechanic of the game where you can use special attacks that will do certain things to the enemy to give you an advantage, but they cost a lot of willpower, a lot of them. So having the enemy just like boom jump scare you, you drop your willpower all the way to 0 and you gotta get it to recover back up. Kind of annoying, but I'm not completely against the mechanic, and don't mind if it comes back for the next game. But I do hope that like it doesn't drop your willpower to 0 every time in the future. If this is only on the harder difficulty, let me know if you played on the easier difficulty and if it didn't drop to 0 when that happened. The jump scare attack is meant to punish you for constantly aiming the camera, so you gotta like take the camera off of them for a bit and then put it back on when they're about to attack. So I do get why it's there. So let's get into some other gameplay features. Let's talk about items and charms. Items are about what I expected. I think it's kind of like just the same stuff we're used to using, like the healing stuff, and then the stuff we now have stuff to recover our willpower. And of course we have all the ammunition for the film, for the camera. Which for that I would say that, you know, like I kept getting to a point where like I was picking up film, I just didn't have enough room in my inventory to be able to pick it up. At first I was a little annoyed by this, but then I realized, you know, later on that you can, or that you'll often revisit places, so you'll have the opportunity to pick up that film again. So I became less bothered by it because of that, because I was constantly revisiting places to unlock new areas or something like that, new side stories and stuff, that I was going back to pick up the film anyway. So it actually ended up not being a problem. You do of course get the ability to upgrade the inventory space for film as well, so it really helps out. In the end, it wasn't a bother to me, but it still felt weird to just leave something behind. But not enough for me to like discredit the game or anything like that. Let's talk about charms now. I like the idea of charms. They had it in, of course, Silent Hill F, and I really like this addition to this game as well. I think it fits really nicely. My only complaint is that you only get to equip one charm, but the game tells you you'll find these bags or something like that that'll let you equip multiple charms. But in my playthrough, I didn't find a single one. Now, granted, I did not do all the side stories, but still, you would have thought I found at least one, but I did get one at the end of the game for beating it. I did read on Reddit that someone said that you don't get these bags until after you beat the game. That was very disappointing to me because I had so many charms, but like, I don't think I ever switched a charm outside of the one I was using, because I just didn't feel like I needed to. And honestly, it would have been kind of annoying to like go into my inventory every time I was in a battle or something to get a better fitting one. So I just equipped one that I thought was good and just kept it at that one for the entirety of the game. I just didn't feel like I needed to switch. So I would say a good feature, but not implemented well. So let's go ahead and talk about filters now. Filters were added to the game. They each have different like functions. Like some are stronger but have less range. Some have more range but are weaker. They do all kinds of stuff. Some can let you see enemies through walls. Some can help you fight against, like when ghosts go into a enraged state. They have stuff like that. And there are some used for gameplay elements, like non-combat wise, I mean, like to help you see ghost traces to follow people, or follow ghosts, I should say, or things that like reveal hidden things that you can't see with the naked eye. As far as combat goes, I didn't really find myself using the other filters because I just never feel like I needed to. I only used them whenever the game kind of like put me in a position where I kind of had to use them. Although I will say, towards the end game, I did find myself using the radiant filter, which felt like using a shotgun to me because it's like strong at close range. It doesn't have much range at all and has a longer like reload. So I did quite like that one, but I mostly just used the standard filter throughout the entirety of the game. There is the long range filter, but my problem with that one is that if you're doing long range, there's not much reason for that, because like you usually want to try to hit the enemy as they're about to hit you. So I didn't really find a reason to want to fight enemies from super far away. I do like this mechanic, and I do like the small times where I did have to use it. And then of course through the story gameplay, I enjoyed using it during those times as well, and hope to see it return for the next game they make, whether it be another remake or a new installment. I would like to see it. So in this game, they introduced side stories, and these are basically side quests you can do alongside your main playthrough. All the ones I did, the rewards for doing them were basically just charms. I don't know if there are other rewards because I did not complete all of them. What I really like about these side stories is that they actually have like, some of them, the ones I did actually had like cutscenes in them. So I thought that was pretty cool that they had cutscenes before you fought the main ghost for the side story. It also lets you revisit areas where you may have left some items because you couldn't pick them up before, and now you can pick them up. Really good addition to the game. Would like to see them continue to bring that to the future of the franchise. But I hope I think one main issue is that all the rewards being charms weren't as exciting because, like, again, I didn't have a reason to use any other charms. Not saying that there weren't any other good charms. The one I had was just fine. And since you couldn't equip multiple charms, I just ended up with a bunch of charms I would never use. But overall, good addition to the game. I'll run through enemies real fast. Like all Fatal Frame games, the game has a good variety of enemies, right? That's a huge positive for all the Fatal Frame games that I played, is that they have a whole bunch of different ghosts to fight. And most of them, it might be all of them, but maybe not all of them, but most of them have some kind of cutscene attached to them that just amplifies the fight even more. And when you fight them, you're always knowing that, like, it's very likely I'm going to be fighting this guy again later on. So it's a good idea to learn how to fight them your first time around, getting used to their attacks and stuff like that. Some of my favorite ghosts in this game were fighting against the water girl, which I think I only fought 2 times in the whole game. Of course, the twin dolls were really fun to fight, really creepy. The priest guy is such a douchebag. Like, he just will teleport and then stab you with his little staff or whatever. The fallen woman, not the broken neck lady, but she's great too. But the fallen woman who, like, slides around on the ground is fantastic. And I could go on and on and on. Like, all the ghosts are great. Next up, let's talk about the stealth segments. This is a new addition to this game specifically, I believe. So in this game, there are parts where, like, there are ghosts wandering, and you can either stealth attack them with your camera, or you can try to sneak past them, I believe. And this one felt really weird to me because it just didn't feel like this happened a lot. Like, there were not a lot of opportunities to be sneaking around and stuff, or getting sneak damage. But maybe that's because I didn't do a lot of the side stories, and maybe the side stories put you more into those positions. But I just didn't see that there was a lot of opportunity to do that. So it seems like a mechanic that was put into the game as maybe they're just testing things. I don't know. I also couldn't tell if crouching helped out a lot, but I think what it did was it decreased my sound. I don't know if it actually decreased my visibility or not. I honestly really wouldn't care if this mechanic was in the rest of the games or not, because it just didn't do anything for me. Continuing on with stealth, there are segments in the game where there's a big powerful ghost you have to fight, or not fight, you have to run away from. And this ghost was in the old games. I think if I remember correctly, it's called, I think this is the Kusabi. I might be wrong there. But anyway, this ghost would chase you around, and you'd have to run away from it in the old game. In this game, it's similar, but now you have to run away to hide, and then come out at the right times to sneak past it and stuff like that. I don't mind these parts. I think these parts are better handled than the actual stealth segments, the other stealth segments. I did kind of wish that there weren't as many, though. It just kind of seemed like it got tiresome after a while, but it's not that big a deal. They're usually not too long, but I do hope that in future installments there are not a ton of these sections. So I'm not really big on this, but it's also not that bad. Like, if they're in the next game, whatever, I can do with it. I just don't want to have to do it so many times. Let's talk about the most important aspect of any survival horror game. Atmosphere. Atmosphere is incredibly important for any survival horror game because it gives you that feeling of fear and anxiety, which is what most people play horror games for, is to feel that sense of fear, that sense of vulnerability. And I think they absolutely nailed it, especially with, like, all the ambient sounds and ambient music. It's super creepy. Even though I never really found the ghosts themselves to be very scary, the sound design and the atmosphere, like the way everything's built, the way the game looks, it's just very creepy, and it carries the game as far as scariness goes. There's also a bunch of, like, little scary things that aren't emphasized at all. You just kind of run into them, such as there's one part in the game where there's I don't even want to talk about it because I don't want to spoil it, but I'll just say this one thing. There's like this one part in the game where there's like a silhouette of a person, and it's just there. Like, there's you can easily miss it, but it's just there. There's like a silhouette of a person, but there's just nothing there. I saw a part where there's like a moving doll that wasn't like an enemy, and I think that's something you could probably miss as well. I had pulled up the camera on it, but like Mio didn't even react to it, so I'm guessing like maybe it's like an Easter egg. I don't know. But it was creepy. That doll area actually is my favorite area of the game, I think. I want to say that the dolls were super creepy. So atmosphere, definitely a 10 out of 10. They nailed it there. Okay, so I want to round out the video by talking about how I feel overall about the game. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the story. Not too much here, but basically, like, it essentially ends kind of the way I expected to. Bear in mind, I only played through one time, so I only have the base ending. But it ends about how I expected it to. Fatal Frame games can be really bittersweet or just really sad in general. So I wasn't like too surprised by that ending. I know there's multiple other endings. I hope to go do them someday, but I have not yet. Gameplay wise, I think the game is great and feels really fun to play. The patch may have made Ghost a little too easy, especially on the harder difficulty of battle. I did unlock a new difficulty, which will be even harder than that, but that's not available from the start. All in all, I would say this game is definitely better than I was expecting. It's fantastic. I highly recommend it for Fatal Frame fans, but if you have not played a Fatal Frame game and you're coming off of Resident Evil 9, know that this is a much slower paced game. You don't move nearly as fast as maybe Grace and Leon do, so just be prepared for that. But it is a great survival horror game. Like, if you were to ask me to put a number on it, I don't really want to, but from a critic's point of view, I would say this is probably like an 8.5, but from a personal enjoyment, it was like a 9 out of 10 for me. Highly recommended. This game was only $50, I believe, at the time that I bought it. And yes, I highly recommend this game for anybody looking for a nice survival horror game. If you enjoyed like the Grace segments in Resident Evil 9, or if you enjoyed like Resident Evil 7, I think you'll really like this one as well. We're trading in zombies for ghosts this time around. I would say the atmosphere alone is enough to play this game. It's so creepy. And Fatal Frame, of course, just has a unique combat system that has a required taste, but also takes some time to get used to. I would highly recommend playing with a controller, probably a PS4 controller, because the button mapping is for PlayStation, or I guess it could be a PS5 controller. I used an Xbox 360 controller, funny enough, because I didn't have a PS4 controller on hand. But anyway, I love the game. Personal enjoyment is a 9 out of 10. If you watched this far, thank you for watching. If you've already been in the game, let me know what you think about everything. How do you feel about the ghost hand and whatever else? What do you want to see in the future as far as changes go? I'm hoping that they will remake the first game, because I really love that one too. But anyway, let me get out of here. Thank you for watching the video. Catch you next one. Bye.